It all started Christmas afternoon, I guess, almost 4 years ago. And I was just sitting there with my grandmother. We were holding hands and kind of just chit-chatting. She prefaced it a little like, "Michael, I don't want you to think I'm being morbid or this is weird or anything, but I would like you to make my coffin." I didn't quite know how to respond at first, I kind of froze and, said something awkward, to kind of dance around the question a little bit. I remember saying something like, "Well, I mean, where are we gonna put it?" It took me a couple weeks to physically, with my words, say, "Yes, I would love to make your casket." I was first drawn to woodworking because it was accessible. It kind of fell in my lap at school. There was like, there's a wood shop. Found it really gratifying. You had a physical experience with the thing you were making. At the end of the day, you could point at the thing that you did. It's my hope that what I'm building has a long lifespan. That's the point of putting effort into a thing. It's not worth it unless it's gonna be there for a while. Every piece is like a unique kind of journey, and they all are special for one reason or another at different parts, but none of them compare to the building of my grandmother's casket. The first phase of designing the casket, there weren't any constraints at all. She had asked me to do it. I wanted to do it. Okay, go. I did a lot more research into the funeral industry than I thought I ever would. Like, if you close your eyes and think of a casket in a funeral, how blown out they are, It's like brass and everything's turned and all this detailing and everything's just like over the top. They're really expensive for a thing that you don't get any enjoyment out of. I don't think anyone gets any enjoyment out of a casket. Yeah, none. Zero enjoyment. For the same reason caskets look like they look. I put importance on it in the wrong way, like that it needed to be this grand thing. Is because you're trying to celebrate this person and you want to represent how special the person on the inside is. And I think that's the hard part of buying a casket for the people who are left behind. They look at these things and they're like, "That's not my mom, that's not my dad, that's not my..." It doesn't relate to the person at all. She kind of felt the same way about the silliness of all the adornment on caskets. And so the only things on it are things that serve a purpose. The material was a challenge until I got a phone call from this church that was remodeling their interior and were getting rid of all their solid oak, 15-foot long church pews. Not immediately, but pretty soon thereafter, it became apparent that this was the right material. It was already an important thing, It wasn't the death of those pews. They just turned into a different thing. You can work wood in silence, It's just quiet, and the only noise that you hear is the noise of your blade. It usually didn't take long for me to start thinking about her when I was working on the casket. I'll remember her as chuckling and me swinging in her sundress as a toddler and swimming lessons and the way her sandwiches tasted Cheetos and Granddad's barbecue chicken, I guess I knew it was finished when I painted that bee on there. That really made it hers. That really made it my family's. I mean, it was up until that point, it wasn't personalized at all. You know, like, it could have been anybody's. When she asked me to make the casket, she was healthy and it was kind of out in the future where she would need this thing. But recently she's been battling cancer and started radiation treatments, and it's obviously, you know, it's cancer. What was kind of a theoretical need out in the future is now getting a lot more like real. And I'll take it to her, you know, have to get it to her before she needs it. Or that was the point of this whole thing. That would be a terrible miss to have worked this long and together on this thing and then her still not get to see it. You can't be introduced to this project in any kind of way and not just think death immediately, you know, to some degree, but it is about life because this entire process is happening during her life. This casket is only brought us together, my grandmother and I. The doing of it is all about our relationship. Which maybe is the strongest takeaway, you know, of looking your death in the face is having the comfort to have more life. I'm kind of a creation of hers, or my, you know, through my mother, and this casket is a creation of mine, and that will help, you know, be a part of the end of her life. I'm not sure how to put words on it. It's just, it's a nice start to thanking her for bringing me here. I'd like to think my grandmother will remember me as a like worthy diplomat of her DNA, I guess, you know? Like, she could stand by her product, you know? Like this, you know, this'll do. If I gotta go, this guy's carrying the torch, I want her to feel like I'm doing a good job.